Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is some stuff you might not know about the two dads who were sentenced to 100 years each for what they'd done to their own adopted children. Now, before I start this story, I just want to tell you two things. The first thing is this story, and the reason for telling this story, it's not about the gay dads. It's about the fact that, one, anybody could do these things to two children who they adopted. And the other thing, the reason for telling this story is, it's bad enough that there should be one human being able to carry out such horrific deeds. But the fact that these two found each other, fell in love, and get married, it's just excruciatingly painful. It is horrific. And I feel sorry for many. I know some gay dads who, got adopted, the identical scenario here where they have adopted children. And their children seem to be well-balanced human beings. So although it's not a conventional, but not unusual family setup, it does work in a lot of instances. So this isn't about gay dads adopting children. That's a different story, a different day for a different discussion. This is about the horrific ability of man. And the two of them managed to find each other. I find it horrific. But going through the details, there's something that I want to discuss. I'm going to talk about the story, and then I want to discuss what I feel is part of the discussion that's been missed by most of, if not all, the mainstream media, and something that's actually quite worrying, and it seems to have been lost in the noise of this story. So the story, for those who don't know it, a gay Georgian couple, and it's Georgia the state, not Georgia the country, will spend life in prison for sick abuse of their adopted sons. Now, I'm going to have to be careful with some of the words that I used to try and keep the video online. Two Georgian men who were convicted of a sickening type of abuse of their two adopted sons are headed to prison for the rest of their lives. The judge decided that married gay couple William and Zachary Zulock, once darlings of the LGBTQ scene in Georgia, will each serve 100 years in prison for sodomizing their sons, recording these acts, and providing videos of the abuse to others. The horrific abuse is believed to have taken place when the boys were as young as 3 and 5 years old. These two defendants truly created a house of horrors and put their extremely dark desires above anything and everything else, the Judicial Circuit District Attorney Randy McGinley said at the sentencing. However, the depth of the defendants' depravity, which is deep as it gets, is not greater than the resolve of those who fought for justice and the strength of the victims in this case. The resolve I have seen from these two young victims over the last 2 years is truly inspiring. In August, William, 34, pleaded guilty to aggravated sodomy, child molestation, incest, and 2 counts of exploitation of children. Zachary entered his own plea on October the 21st for aggravated sodomy, child molestation, and 2 counts of sexual exploitation of children. He had a bench trial for the 2 incest counts and was found guilty by Judge Jeffrey Foster of incest. Now, this is a bit bizarre, because he's pled guilty for doing these acts, but obviously pled not guilty incest, or that would never have went to a bench trial. I can't join the dots there. I can't see where this makes sense. However, following arguments from the prosecution and the defence, Foster adhered to the state's recommendation and sentenced both men to 100 years behind bars without the possibility of parole, followed by probation for life, which is pointless to me. But due to the seriousness of the offences, neither of them will be eligible for parole until the entire 100 years is up, ensuring they will die in prison. In an initial search of Zulock's posh home in Atlanta suburbs, police reviewed 2 weeks worth of footage from interior surveillance cameras, which showed the men at 6 abusing the children in several different parts of the house. I would imagine the surveillance cameras only kept for 2 weeks and then over-recorded. And in those 2 weeks alone, they were at it. The case against the couple began in July 22, when the Walton County Sheriff's Office got a tip from Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Child Exploitation and Computer Crime Unit. Investigators received an alert from a National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children about suspected child abuse material uploaded to a Google account with a Walton County IP address. After obtaining a search warrant, investigators raided the Zulock's home and discovered over 7 terabytes of digital evidence. Now, that's 1,000 gigabytes is a terabyte. That's like 8 computers are in a terabyte, roughly. So that's like 56 computers crammed with evidence. And I'll come back to this when I'm summarising the bits that's been missed by most. Home surveillance footage and a cell phone data that contained graphic images, videos and text messages discussing the abuse. In subsequent interviews, both men admitted they'd spent years abusing their sons, whom they'd adopted in 2018 from the now defunct Christian Agency. This involved them sodomizing the boys and forcing them to perform oral on them, they told the police. The investigation into the Zulocks also revealed they were communicating with 2 other people with similar attraction to children. Hunter Lawless and Luis Vizcarro Sanchez, about the abuse of their boys. Arrest documents said that Zachary messaged Lawless on Snapchat that he was going to FUCK his son and to stand by. I'd imagine that's to stand by for footage of it. Lawless also told police the Zulocks offered their boys up to them multiple times. Lawless was arrested after downloading a large amount of these that traced by police to his Gmail address. Lawless admitted he received child abuse material from Zachary and was later sentenced to 20 years in prison. Incriminating messages from Zachary were also sent to Vizcarro Sanchez's phone. He pleaded guilty to pandering for a person under 18. He also pleaded guilty to unrelated crime of stealing computers from his workplace. Vizcarro Sanchez was sentenced to 60 years, the first 15 of which will be served in prison. Now, see, when you think about that sentencing in the sentence of Hugh Edwards in our own country not so long ago, kind of lets you understand, and you can see why people in the UK are a bit concerned. The couple was able to adopt their 2 sons, who are 12 and 10 now, despite Zachary having been accused of raping another boy in 2011. That allegation was reported to police but never investigated by prosecutors thoroughly enough to warrant charges. Zachary and William were raising their sons in the affluent Atlanta suburb for roughly 3 years. They had custody of them. Zachary worked in a local bank branch, while William worked for local government customer service centre, but somehow they were taking in $7,500 per week. Let me just rewind a bit there. One of them was a local bank, worked in a local bank, and the other one worked for local government customer service. They were raking in $7,500 per week, $30,000 per month, $360,000 a year. Those 2 jobs. They were able to build their dream home in the area while similar properties sell for $900,000. Behind the facade of happy family living in the beautiful home is reality that they were regularly raping children. Zachary and William adopted the boys from foster care. The boys, then 5 and 3, had been removed from their heroin-addicted parents and placed in foster care. The pair said the abuse and the filming of the abuse occurred between 2019 and 2021. In 2021, just a year before they were arrested for the heinous abuse allegations, the pair made inquiries about adopting a 2-year-old girl. The adoption agency they used was All God's Children Inc., a now defunct special needs agency in Georgia. It's unclear how extensive their checks were on the pair before they took the boys. Now, here's a kicker. These animals were bringing in £7,500 per week from 2 jobs that would probably be lucky to bring that in per month. So where did the other money come from? Now let's tell you some facts before we go into thinking of the possibles. We know the amount of money they made. We know that they were offering these boys up to these, at least one of the 2 other guys in the case who have been given vast sentences. We know that is factual. We know that they would get their sexual gratification as homosexuals from pleasuring themselves with boys. I doubt that that would extend to pleasuring themselves with young girls. So the mere fact that these men were looking to bring a young girl into this family would suggest it was not only their sexual gratification that they were interested in. And I think this story is far greater than the one we're being told. I would suggest, and I don't think it's an unreasonable joining of the dots, that to be gaining $7,500 per week, these 2 horrible men are doing a lot worse. And for you to have 7 terabytes of data, now that's not 7 terabytes of data in total, that's 7 terabytes of data which were abuse of these young kids. I would contest that that's not there just for your own gratification. You somehow are selling at least just the videos and footage to other sick individuals and potentially offering out the young boys themselves. And the mere fact that I can suggest that they were offering out the young boys is the fact that they were considering bringing a young girl into the fold. It's horrific. Absolutely horrific. And I think my suggestion will be far from the truth. So before tying up, I just like to point out again that this video is not put out through any despise of the way the family's set up. There'll be 2 dads. I know families that are set up with 2 dads. I actually know families that are set up with 2 mothers as well, and the kids in the family seem fine, and the ones that I've been in contact with. So that's not the dig here. So please don't keep your homophobic comments for another day, if you don't mind. Because this story's not about that. It's about what's happened to these 2 kids. And that's a horrific part. So, if you enjoyed the actual video, not the content, what we're discussing, please give the video a thumbs up and let others see it. If you've not already done so, please hit the subscribe and notification bell. Please give me your comments in below, and if you feel that I'm being unjust with my suggestions about what's happened to you, over and above the case, then please do so. But most importantly of all, unless you are the type of person that A, can actually carry out these acts in the first place, or B, enjoy watching other people do it. No you, but
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.